going back on the record. The time is 3:49 p.m.
Welcome back, Mr. Stidham. I'm handing you Exhibit 50. This is a screenshot of a video, of the first frame of a video we're going to be using momentarily. And it's a screen capture of a YouTube video that's publicly available. We will be dealing with the video in a moment, but first I wanted to ask some questions about some of the elements on this page. Do you see in the bottom right corner of the kind of video frame, it says Zoom?
Yes.
What is Zoom?
It's a live video conferencing platform.
And LuLaRoe has used it in the past to stream video conferences, is that right?
Correct.
And if you look maybe an inch below Deanne's right hand, there's a little square icon and it says Webinar, Webinars. Is that a LuLaRoe graphic?
I don't know.
And the title of the video, according to this webpage, is Tuesday 10 a.m. LuLaRoe Update Webinar 3.28.17. Earlier we talked about weekly calls. Was one of those weekly calls a LuLaRoe update call?
Yes.
Okay. And does LuLaRoe make those available online to IFRs?
We do now. Again, I'm not sure that we always had the technology available to do that.
And in fact, were those webinars available to anyone, not just IFRs?
I'm not sure who they were available to.
If you look about an inch below Zoom, it says 18,497 watching now. Does this indicate how many people watch the Zoom video?
Objection, lack of foundation.
I would assume that that's what that is.
Okay. There's a screen in front of you, which we're going to use to play portions of this video. And I'm going to ask that Exhibit 51 be designated as the video file, if that's possible. The video file is WA-AG-000973. Okay, so this is the screen capture. In general, when you presented for the LuLaRoe Update webinars, did you prepare a script in advance?
No.
Did you have any outlines or notes?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Would you generally prepare with anyone else before presenting on these weekly calls?
Occasionally, but not generally.
And just to confirm, for the record, in this video, that's you and Dan Stidham, correct?
Correct.
And based on the background that's behind you, can you tell where you are?
We would be in Deanne's office.
Okay, I am going to move the video to 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Approximately.
Yeah, is in the heavens above us and it's not moving. The next thing that people are concerned about is this move that we're going to make to compensation that's based on your sales. Now, this is very simple. There's several reasons why we're doing this. The first one is so that we can completely align behavior in the company. Again, I've given this example before. I want to give it again. If I get paid when you order product, and I call you and tell you that you need to order more product, your first response is going to be, he only says that because he's going to get paid. If I get paid when you sell product, and I tell you, you need to bulk up your inventory a little bit, you don't have enough inventory to have a great sell, all at once you know, well, gee, he doesn't get paid unless I sell product, so the advice he's giving me must be to really help me sell product. And what it does is it aligns the leadership of the company.
Okay. So there are a couple issues discussed that I would like to ask you questions on. At the beginning of the clip, you indicated people had expressed. Were you aware at the time of any instances of that happening?
The specific instances, no, but very aware that there was a potential.
And when did you become aware of this potential?
On the day we started the comp plan.
Have you heard any anecdotes of that happening?
I can see that some of that may have happened, or I'm not even going to say may have. I can see that some of that happened by looking at order and sell-through data. Knowing that my sell-through data wasn't highly accurate, there still was enough of a difference in ordering and sell-through that I was concerned about it.
And based on the data, did you become concerned about it?
Again, I was concerned about it from day one. You cannot reward behavior A and anticipate that you will get behavior B. Unfortunately, I did not have access to data to identify the rewards for behavior B, so we took the next best thing.
And earlier we talked about how when you and Dan first started, in the early days when first started having other people besides Dan sell, there was no comp plan. And I think you said sometime in 2014 was when the first comp plan came into existence. Do you have a month estimate on when the first comp plan came into existence?
So the 5% bonus was adapted fairly early, but the comp plan that became the management plan was probably started in early 2014. I remember on the cruise having specific discussions about it and putting kind of discussions about what was available to us and what did we want to accomplish and how would we compensate those behaviors. Those conversations took place on the cruise, which would have been in February, so shortly after that would have been when the comp plan was instigated.
And just to make sure I understand your analogy with behavior A and behavior B correctly, behavior A is ordering inventory, right?
In this case, we could make that assumption, yes.
Okay. And behavior B would be selling retail.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, the old incentive plan didn't encourage retail sales.
Check to the form.
I'm sorry, ask again?
So in other words, the old compensation plan didn't incentivize retail sales.
Same objection.
The specifics of the comp plan maybe didn't, but all of the language, all of the education, all of the discussion, the culture, everything else pointed to sales. We were always a sales-based company.
And when you say specifics, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to everything around the business pointed to sales.
To social media, referring to LuLaRoe as a pyramid. What social media, what platforms, what were you aware of?
We were hugely successful in penetrating the marketplace with a clothing brand. The sales of clothing to end consumers disrupted marketplaces. People were going to buy clothing regardless. They just found LuLaRoe clothing of better value to them. They found a higher quality, they found better pricing, they found styles that they liked. Therefore, they bought our clothing. In disrupting that status quo, we created enemies. We were attacked viciously in social media with all kinds of claims and wild stories and accusations, mostly unfounded. I would say entirely unfounded, but somewhere there might be a kernel of truth in something that somebody said. But social media and mainstream media began to make claims about who we were and what we did and what we stood for that were wholly unfounded, wholly untrue. And eventually, everybody will know that.
You know, you've talked a lot about how successful the product is, how successful IFRs are. Have you heard of any IFRs that have lost money?
Yes.
Have you heard of IFRs who've filed for bankruptcy? Former IFRs or IFRs who filed for bankruptcy?
Check the form.
Interesting question. We did some research into former IFRs that had filed bankruptcy, and I don't have the data right in front of me, but the percentage of former IFRs that filed bankruptcy was lower than the percentage of the general population that files bankruptcy. So yes, there were some.
And when was that research done?
Last year sometime.
Was that internal or internally done at LuLaRoe?
I'm not sure who pulled the actual data. It was generated internally.
Do you have numbers about how many IFRs or former IFRs lost money?
No.
Do you have numbers on how many IFRs or former IFRs have gone bankrupt?
I believe that data is somewhere that they generated that report.
The clarification. We'll put Exhibit 51 aside. I'd like to mark Exhibit 52 as Bates number 005618. Okay, so the file name, this was produced by LuLaRoe to us, and the file name is October Leadership-Mark Stidham. If at any point you can figure out what year this speech is, please let me know. But that is you on stage in the video, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to move to minute 4 and 58 seconds. And I believe when we talked earlier about leadership, you mentioned it happens 4 times a year. Is that right?
Correct. Well, 3 times for leadership and 1 for convention.
And based on the background here, can you distinguish whether or not it was the big one versus one of the 3 smaller ones?
If it was October, it's not convention. It is definitely a leadership, and I'm sorry, I don't recognize.
Okay. Okay. Ah,
Well, here I am.
there we go. Okay, we're going to move on to the next exhibit. I'm going to mark Exhibit 53 as Bates number 00 5605. This one is entitled Vision 2017. And was Vision a recurring event, or was it a tour? What
No,
was
Vision would have been convention.
Convention, okay. And when would it have occurred in 2017?
I'm sorry, what?
And when would Vision, which month in 2017 would Vision 2017 have occurred?
I believe it was July.
So I'm going to move to, so first that's you on the screen, correct?
Pardon?
That's you on the screen, correct?
Yeah, but I'm watching the same video we just watched.
Sorry, hold on. So I'm now on Exhibit 53, which is Bates number 005605. Going to move to 1355. Or roughly 1355, 1351.
Now, we're making a trend.
So I'd like to mark Exhibit 54 as, pardon me, this one is a physical document. So this is a screen capture of the video we're about to watch. We will be producing this later today. We pulled it recently. It's going to be Bates numbered WA-AG005789 is the Bates number for the screen capture, which we have in front of us. And this is an interview you did with an entity called GROCO, G-R-O-C-O. It was posted on YouTube in August of 2016, and the title of the video is How LuLaRoe Disrupted the Fashion Retail Industry. Do you recall this interview, Mr. Stidham?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and did it occur in August of 2016?
It occurred in July of
July of 2016. And who set up this interview? Well, let me ask you it this way. Did GROCO approach LuLaRoe asking to do an interview?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what GROCO is?
Yeah, it's a gentleman named Alan Olson, and he has a CPA firm, and he also does has a I guess a blog where he interviews successful individuals.
And had you met Mr. Olson before they approached you to do the interview?
I met him, and when I met him, he approached me to do the interview.
Where did you meet him?
In Wyoming.
Did you meet him kind of in a personal capacity while you were doing LuLaRoe work?
No, it was personal capacity.
Okay. So I'd like to mark Exhibit 55. It's a video file, Bates number WA-AG-005791. And so this is the first frame of the video. It is indeed Mr. Olson. Moving to minute 11 and 22 seconds. Or rather, 11 minutes and 18 seconds.
I think that it would do that. And those numbers were a lot more conservative than what we've done. And so I sat down in the beginning with one of my consultants, with an external consultant, and we put some spreadsheets together and put some projections together. And I hoped that we might do $100 million in our what I consider our third full calendar year of business, which would be actually 2016. It would have been this year, yeah. And we're on track to do probably more than 10 times that. And when I put those projections on paper, I thought they were wildly optimistic. I thought we might be able to do it, but I certainly didn't, tell everybody in the world, hey, this is what we're going to do.
Who is the external consultant you're referring to?
He's now full-time employee. It was Noel Knighton.
Noel Knighton was the external consultant who helped you with the projections?
Yeah.
And when you say 100 million, was that wholesale sales?
Yes.
And so in 2016, LuLaRoe did 1 billion in wholesale sales. Is that what you're saying?
In excess.
In excess. Did Mr. Knighton, was he a consultant purely in an individual capacity, or was he affiliated with a larger consulting group?
In an individual capacity.
How was he referred to you, or how did you go about hiring him? How did you find him as a consultant?
He was referred by a personal friend.
Turning to the 12-minute and 28-second mark.
Finding everything very quickly. Yeah, we joke about our month is everybody else's year, because we've actually seen 25% growth month over month for the last 24 months. Not exactly that, but if you add them all up and take the average, we're averaging 25% month over month. And having come from business, I understand most companies would kill to have that kind of growth year over year. And so business processes have been a challenge because things that we were able to do easily at a smaller scale become more and more complicated.
What metric are you talking about when you say LuLaRoe was experiencing 25% growth month over month?
Gross sales.
Gross sales. And what were the challenges of this growth that you're referring to in this video?
All of them. Supply chain, accounting, order fulfillment, customer service, warehousing, physical facilities, the physical facilities, the internals, the processes for pulling product and shipping it, processes for taking orders and processing orders, processes for supporting the retailers on the sales side, the point of sale systems. I mean, you name a system inside of the business, and with that kind of growth, every one of them was under pressure.
I'm going to move to the 14 minutes and 40-second mark. And we've talked a couple of times today about the challenges faced by this growth. Is it fair to say that LuLaRoe grew at an overwhelming rate?
Object to the form.
LuLaRoe grew at an unprecedented rapid rate. Not overwhelming, we're still here.
Okay, so we're at the 14-minute and 39-second mark. Oops.
And helping them to make money. As those consultants come through, do you have a process that you train them on and how to be effective and help them make money in their business process?
We have ongoing training processes, and we use the people who have come before them that are in the business to implement a lot of that training. But that's always a challenge as the company grows.
So you just said in this video, LuLaRoe uses the people that came before them to implement the training. What did you mean by that?
I meant sponsors, trainers, coaches, mentors who are being paid leadership compensation checks to help people develop profitable, sustainable businesses.
So and who tells them what to train on, like the topics of the training?
LuLaRoe offers educational opportunities, but by virtue of the fact that they are successful in their business, and in order to be at those ranks, they had to perform some level of business in order to get there. It's not magic. And in order to, and so they teach a lot of what they know to be true. Even now, the actual sales training does not come from home office. There are things that are taught from home office, but our training, our component leans towards the motivational side, where the actual how-tos and hands-on comes from retailers who are in the field actually doing the work and have that experience and have firsthand knowledge of things that have worked and things that didn't work. And that's the beauty of the program, is it's not some home office dictating do it this way or do it that way. The field in many, many ways has led home office. The presence on social media was instigated by the field, not by home office. Home office had Deanne's model of taking product into somebody's home and selling it. The field pioneered Facebook Live selling. We completely changed the Facebook platform. LuLaRoe retailers changed the Facebook platform by finding a creative way to continue to do their business. And so when it comes to teaching of how to do the business, that is exactly what I pay that mid-level management for, because they're the ones that are in it and doing it.
And is that training available to all IFRs?
Yes.
Is it available to folks in the queue?
When they're in the queue, it can be available to them, absolutely.
And is it fair to say that LuLaRoe and its leader and the leaders would provide any training that, quote, a newbie, end quote, might need?
Object to the form.
I'm sorry, again, ask the question again. I'm not sure I understand.
Is it fair to say that LuLaRoe and the leaders that you mentioned that offer these trainings would provide any training that a new person to LuLaRoe might need?
I would look at that from the other side, and I would say that a new person has access to all the training that they might need through LuLaRoe and a leader.
And do you believe that any new person can succeed at LuLaRoe even if they don't have formal business background?
Yes.
And do you believe that LuLaRoe would provide any education or mentorship that might be needed to succeed at LuLaRoe?
Object as asked and answered.
And again, when you say LuLaRoe, anybody that joins the business has access to resources that, if they choose to avail themselves of those, would provide them what they need to be successful in business. To the degree that their own personal commitment and skill set and passion and desire to work, their work ethic, is sufficient. Everything else is available.
And in describing the role that leaders play in the training, is it fair to say that LuLaRoe relied on the leaders to train new onboards?
Object to the form.
Yes.
Joe, I appreciate we're on the clock. I need to use the restroom.
Okay.
I need some kind of break.
Okay, let's take a quick break. If we could try to, anyone who doesn't need to use the bathroom, if you could stay here, that'd be great.
Also,
Off the record, the time is 4:57 p.m.